think it was Mr. Nelson Mandela who said that education is a key that opens many doors. And that could not have been more true and very important. Young girls need to realize that to reach their goals, to become CEOs of companies, seasoned journalists like yourself, to become medical doctors and follow maybe STEM fields, it is important that they have the skills and knowledge in those sectors. Because we both know that in the corporate world, if you have the knowledge and the skills, you get the respect.
And this year's theme for International Women's Day is women in leadership and achieving an equal future in the COVID-19 world. But what do you think is the role as a woman in leadership positions? What do you think is the role of women in the post-pandemic and ensuring that we bridge the gap that has been established or that has been actually exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think, firstly, particularly to the women who are in leadership positions, they need to make sure that women in the workplace are supported in ensuring that they can give their best. So that means, providing childcare services in order that the women can focus on the work in the corporate world. I think we need more women in health sectors as managers to ensure that women's health is also taken care of, and provision and access to women's health is prioritized. I think women need to really ensure that they take on the leadership in this post-pandemic recovery, and that they're sitting at the table and contributing towards policies and regulations and changes for the recovery.
Yeah, and on a broader perspective, what kind of gender-responsive policies do you think African governments should adopt in order to ensure that these women actually take up the spaces that we are calling them upon to take?
Well, I think firstly, a lot of countries on the continent have done well in ensuring that both young boys and girls go through the primary school education. But we need to do more than that. Young girls, particularly when they get to secondary education, start falling off around the ages when they become adolescent. So we need to make sure that in schools, we make provision for young teenage girls for reproductive health. I'm talking about sanitary towels, privacy where these young girls can feel safe, if they are going through their menstrual cycles. We need to ensure that banks can make access to loans for women much easier. We know that most women do not have much assets, and therefore we need to look at a gendered way of assessing credit worthiness of women who need loans.
As I say goodbye, you're a role model to so many young girls out there. Who do you look up to, or who are some of the people that have shaped your outlook in this life?
Oh, thank you so much. You're very kind. I can mention family. My mother is the first woman that I've seen and who have taught me a lot. My sisters as well. My mother-in-law, when I became an older woman, she was there to support me as well. But generally, I admire women in different spheres. We have amazing women leaders on the continent, women in leadership positions, as government leaders or in business. And I totally admire your First Lady, Mrs. Jeanette Kagame.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be speaking to you this evening.
Thank you very much, Gloria.